everyone, it's me and Buster Green here, and today I have a quickie review of February 2021's PS Plus Game of the Month, Concrete Genie. Control also came out this month, and I plan on reviewing that one next if I manage to get through it anytime soon, which I'm hoping I will. But anyway, here's my quick take on Concrete Genie, which I managed to get through very quickly. So, Concrete Genie is what I want to kind of say is the first story adventure game about painting. And anyway, it's the only painting-themed game for the PS4/PS5. Now, the Wii U had a shit ton of painting games, like Splatoon and that one Paper Mario spin-off I can't remember. Now, where Splatoon used painting as a sport and that Mario game was actually more about coloring, this game actually does give you some bit of creative agency into what you're painting. And that feels like a good step forward. Unfortunately, though, everything you paint in this game is in the form of stamps, which feels very 90s. Like, does anyone remember Kid Pix or Mario Paint? Anyway, it's a bit like that, and that definitely puts something of a cap or a limit on your overall creativity. That being said, this game does have a distinct 90s vibe, as it's about a bunch of poor kids playing in a dilapidated fishing village. And none of them have cell phones. They all have bikes, so it's a little bit Stranger Things, you know? Anyway, now my biggest overall gripe about this game is that it was very, very heavily promoted and advertised as a PSVR game. Unfortunately, the PSVR mode in this game is a fucking 10-minute long tech demo. Now, it's a cool tech demo, but it's a tech demo. All you do is you go into this room and you paint some shit on a series of barely interactive static rooms. And there's a single little fire guy egging you on, recommending you shit to do. Now that being said, the controls on the VR version were so fucking tight. And then in comparison, the controls in the normal story mode are so fucking sloppy that the entire game, the only thing I wanted to do more than anything else was somehow have the ability to use my PS Move controllers in the normal game, even if I wasn't playing in VR. Like, this game felt so absolutely right using the Move controllers because, you know, the Move controllers are kind of shaped like a paintbrush. But then playing with the normal DualShock, it just felt frustrating and inaccurate. And the other thing I'm going to say about this game is I got it for free on PS Plus, but it was previously a budget release, and it makes sense because the VR mode is a 10-minute long disappointing tech demo. And then the main story, I managed to get through it in about 8 hours, but I hear you can do it in 6. So yeah, I beat it very casually in a few hours a day after work, so it only took me about 3 days. And I'm okay with the game being short and sweet because the world it took place in wasn't that interesting. And since it was so kind of shallow, the drama played out at a very movie-style pace. And also, I'm a little bit sick right now of PS Plus games that take like a month to beat because the last couple of games I played have been really fucking long and I don't know, I'm just not in the mood for that right now. Anyway, let's go into the story. So, Concrete Genie is the story of Ash, a very girly-looking kid who resembles Sigourney Weaver, and he wears too much lipstick. Anyway, he's very much into art and graffiti, and he lives in this very shitty, dilapidated New England fishing village. Unfortunately, he's being pursued by a gang of asshole kids who seem to outright want to kill him. And those kids are also graffitiing the town, leaving a series of personal attack ads against Ash, letting him know that they're coming to kill him, they think he's stupid, and they absolutely hate art and anyone who would make it. Anyway, so one day Ash is doing his thing and he wanders into an abandoned lighthouse. And there he finds a magic paintbrush, which imbues him with graffiti superpowers to laser any pattern he thinks of onto anything he finds. And it also lets him bring these genies to life, which cause elemental damage to the surrounding area that help him solve puzzles. And real talk for a second, I have no clue why he calls these things genies, other than the fact that the game is called Concrete Genie, and yeah, I guess that's kind of a memorable title. But in terms of behavior, they're definitely just monsters or ghosts or something like that. I don't know. But the cool thing about them is you do at least have semi-full control over what they end up looking like, with the exception that you need to unlock most of their accessory subtraits by collecting the pieces of Ash's destroyed notebook. So anyway, the main gameplay of this game consists of bopping around the town, doing parkour, painting graffiti, and using the genies and the graffiti to solve puzzles, while at the same time being extremely cautious and stealthy to avoid these dirtbag kids who are trying to kill you. Oh, and making matters worse, the button you use to move the genies around has the side effect of making Ash scream, letting the bullies know exactly where you are, causing them to swarm you and kill you. Now, this is another game where you can't actually die, and rather dying just respawns at some random spawn point on the other side of the city. But considering I myself was once pursued by a gang of dirtbag kids in a dilapidated New England fishing village who were also trying to kill me, I found this overall scenario incredibly realistic and horrendously relatable in the most disturbing way. Anyway, so as you play through the game, the bullies corner you, and then the magic paintbrush magically lets the bullies have this like psychotic break where they realize that they're suffering from some sort of unacknowledged child abuse, taking it out on Ash because of the child abuse pyramid. And then he blesses them with this self-awareness to think, hey, maybe they should leave this motherfucker alone. But anyway, the game is really short. The levels are like, there's this super short intro stage, then a stage at the docks, a stage at a factory, a stage inside some sewers, which have some low-key Mario references, and then finally you get to the end of the game. So that means there's only 3 real levels and an intro and an outro. Now, in what has to be one of the most surprising and interesting twists about the game does not actually grant you any ability to run or fight until you reach the end game. Like, just a few minutes before the final boss, you finally get to run and fight. So for story purposes, this totally makes sense, but the running greatly improves your ability to do the parkour, which you need to solve 100% of the game's goofy painting puzzles. And yeah, so holding back the fighting makes sense, but considering this is a game about a kid who has a magic paintbrush that gives him godly superpowers, but then he spends 90% of that game running in fear from 5th graders trying to punch him, I kind of also wish I could have, defended myself a little earlier. Still though, I can't ever recall a game teaching me basic self-defense controls right before the final boss. So that was definitely something new and refreshing, at least to me. Anyway, so it turns out that in the end, the point of the game is ultimately pretty much that deep down, it's about relationships, and pretty much Ash figures out that the aggressive gang of bullies and him, if he corners one of the kids one-on-one, at like a personal level, most of the kids don't really have anything personally against Ash. And yeah, he can even sort of make friends with some of them. But for some reason, when all these dirtbag kids are united as a gang, they all just get this like weird crowd mentality and they want to kill him. And it seems really stupid in this game because it's conveyed very poorly, but I have seen kids exhibit this behavior in real life. So I can kind of see what they were trying to say here, even if they did a bad job saying it. Alright, so let me think what I want to say about this one. Now, the story was actually pretty okay. The story on its own, that was like a 7 out of 10. The world was the shithole New England fishing village. It was overall pretty generic and it did seem very unrealistic. Like retroactively, now that I think of it, I feel like I saw hundreds of buildings in this village and none of them had front doors or windows. And then the characters were super unlikable. All the bullies in this game were just generic and negative and evil and very interchangeable. And Ash, I don't know what was up with him. Ash looked like a girl, and he seemed to have a lot of these weird feminine aesthetic choices. Have you ever known a girl who was like trying to be an artist and like whenever she would draw, no matter what she would draw, it would look incredibly female and feminine and kind of girly even when she wasn't trying to draw something that was supposed to be girly? I feel like that's what's going on with this video game, but just at like a massive scale. Like this is an entire video game of girly looking shit that isn't supposed to be girly. So yeah, I want to say Concrete Genie is a 6 out of 10. It's a good story with bad characters in a decent world. Now, it's not a masterpiece, but because the game is so short, that actually benefits this game quite a bit, because the shortness makes the game a lot tighter and it makes it a way more accessible experience as a game. So yeah, just play it, guys. It's a few short hours, so what you gotta lose? And it's a cheap game too. It was $30 when it came out, and it's not new now, so you can probably get it even cheaper than that if you were trying to pick it up. Just whatever you do, do not be fooled thinking this is a VR game. The VR mode is just a fucking tech demo. And I got really psyched up because I thought the VR mode was going to be really cool. And also, there's never been a PSVR game on PS Plus, so I thought, finally, a free PSVR game. But yeah, the VR mode is really, really weak. Anyway, it was a really easy game and a really easy platinum trophy to get, and I was able to collect everything in the game after I beat the story in just like a few short minutes. So yeah, once I could run, I could just run and get everything I missed. Anyway, that's Concrete Genie, and I was Buster Green. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get subscribers, and I still need like 500 more. So come on, guys, help me out here. Don't feed into the child abuse pyramid. All right, you guys, catch you later. Bye.